Hello, my name is Jay Song. Welcome to ChartRoom. Today is December 8th, 2025. We're coming up to the end of 2025, and if you guys have a ChartRoom request, go ahead and put it in the chat. I have no requests for today, so did you get a request, Melody? Okay, so we have a full schedule. Go ahead and put it in the chat what you guys want to look at. Melody, go ahead and shorten this up in the video. Okay, we will look at USDT.D at the end. No big updates. No update at all. Okay. I'll take a look. I'll start adding your request. All right, Lisa wants to. Oh, we do have some updates. Sorry, not updates. We do have some charts. Theta for Nino. Yep. USDT.D for Joanna. It's on the board right here. But I'll talk about it. Joanna. John Lee. Google. XTC. Okay, let's put it in. So the first crypto we'll look at is Theta in just a moment. Let me type this in. Give me a moment while I type this. Joanna, did you get a chance to look at my chart room from on Saturday? All right, it's gonna have the bulk of it, so I'm only gonna show screenshots. Take a look at there so I don't waste too much time on it, because we just pushed it to its degree. There's really nothing left to say about it except for to show it. So I'll refer you to that video from Saturday. If you have a different request, you can put one on the board, because I'm gonna go real fast over it. Okay, no problem. RSR. What is this node? Node, which is node ops. Okay. Okay. All right, almost done typing. All right, let's begin. Melody, go ahead and begin recording here. All right, no big updates for USDT.D from our Saturday video session. Go ahead and watch that video Saturday session for everybody who's looking at USDT.D. We're still right here. We are going to be talking about the core clusters again. Once we trigger this 6.64 number, it's going to continue to go down. The number for today is actually 6.62, so that gets a little bit lower each time. So once this triggers, that's going to be the start of the a big crash in the market, another big crash in the market. There's also a more smaller entry for this that's hit now a third time, so that's going to be 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to put a lot of weight on the emphasis of 6.309, and that number is going to go out to tomorrow, still about 6.309. So this is going to give us another health possibly in this crypto, and that's going to be a short bearish movement, and then the real movement is going to be here, starting here. Triple J has a lot of emphasis on 7. That's a number she's heard a lot. Other people in the community, like Christian, heard 9. My data currently stands at right here, and then the circle clusters we did about 2 weeks ago now all give us a lot of resistance right there in the sky at 8.6 average. All right, 8.6 average, a lot of resistance in this way. So I'm going to be pressing more towards the top side of my target. And we also see here, so if I was just trading based on target system alone, I'd want to use 8.05 as a number for where USDT.D is going. And that's based on the top side here and the averages. So this would be more of a liberal target. The liberal side being the top side, and the lower side being the conservative number. So that's going to be something that I'm greatly paying attention to. Those have not triggered. Bullishness starts coming underneath this line, but the problem with that is even if there's some bullishness in the market, we still have this large parabolic that is here, and prices on top of that on the wick side. So if it falls, we may spike down back to 5.24, and then we can bounce around a bit, and then even let those come out, and that would give us closer to around January 31st. For somewhere around there would be the next vortex. I'm not saying price will take that long, and it usually never does reach those vortexes just by bouncing around in that fashion. It usually only reaches a vortex if it's on top or on bottom. But if it's trapped within there, that's the maximum time that it could play without having to make a decision to still be bullish or bearish. But as it is right now, we're approaching a more smaller vortex, and that one's going to become closer to December 15th. So price has to make a decision to break out before December 15th. Otherwise, it's going to enter this area here, and that's why I said I'll put a yellow border around this. It's delay to weakness. The yellow meaning delay, meaning we can bounce around here and waste our time for a bit. But as it is right now, we're still within the power play for things to happen more very rapidly. And as you can see, the candles are still very much within this realm. So we'll do another circle cluster based on this one on Wednesday, and we'll talk about another confirmation of this number being in the sky, and then where that circle cluster will lead us to if we are into the weakness side. So we'll talk about that one more as it is, but just need to know that there's no deviation from the analysis. I'm really still only authorized by my system to take bearish trades in a bullish trend and to hunt those down moves. So right now it's basically me sitting on my hands waiting for price to make a decision, and then it's either going to break to the upside, which is bearish, or break to the downside, which is bullish. Any other questions before I move on? Okay. All right. Good. All right, let's jump into regular cryptos today, and that's going to be Theta, which is the first one. And then on the board, you're going to see some requests from our live studio audience. These are going to be our dive tier friends and members. Theta. Okay, we'll pull this up on Binance. Take a look at. All right, looks like no new updates since our last weaknesses being here. Let's see, November 3rd was our last report. Let's see, November 3rd was about here, right there. This crypto has entered into weakness. Let's read what we said. This crypto has entered into a negative area, a negative area, also indicating prices gravitating lower with high degree of confidence. This together makes a bearish case for Theta at the moment. We can see 205 hit exactly, and this confirms this and stresses the borders and lower support. All right, so let's take a look at that 205 number. 205, where are we at? 0.025. Right here. Okay, 205, that was during the flash crash of October 6th week. All right, and that's going to stress this border. Okay, good. Okay, so what I was talking about in this particular area was in the past, because we have hit these areas and we have one peak of an energy center, another energy center here, and an energy center here, 1, 2, 3, plus we have a bottom here that's been hit multiple times. What we can do is we can stress the borders, okay? So when we have another verification here, this day here, it also stresses the borders. And what I mean by stressing the borders is that in our art, we want to place more emphasis or more thought on those borders as an oscillation. So it really drives home that that is a bottom and this is a top. So this is a downward trend. To make money in a downward trend, it's quite easy. When we're in that territory, provided we know what territory we're in, we want to simply hunt the up moves. And with a great degree of confidence, we're going to be much more successful in hunting our moves. So our first weaknesses would be something like this. And then what happens is after we, and I take you guys to the corner of our chart all the time, but it looks something like this, where we start moving like a clock. Okay, most of those up moves start oscillating even downward, and that does qualify as the up move, but in context. Generally, we're going to see these sharper moves or those type of moves first until we get to like the 45 degree, and then we're going to start even going flat, and then we start going there. So those will constitute more and more weaknesses as time goes on. So that's how that works. And currently, the up moves in this one are now already at flat, as we talked about in November 3rd, and that was these the round structures that were forming underneath here. So here's October, and here's November 7th. All of this space under here had already rounded underneath the larger move, in this case, our larger up moves we talked about, but now it's as flats. So this was our big weakness, and that's where we got this number here from that weakness. Okay, so we knew almost everything we need to know about this crypto here from Theta. All right, does anybody have any other questions for this, what I mean by these that we're talking about? Once we know we're here, we have almost everything we need to know. This crypto is weak. We got to stay away from cryptos like this. Unless we're shorting it, then we love cryptos like this. And until then, and then we can talk now about the health. If you guys are expecting a bounce, we can talk about that. Okay. Thank you, Melody, for making coffee. Okay. Now let's go to, let's talk about some of the healths that may come into this crypto. Here's a smaller health. It's going to be accelerated. There's one. And the one that's less accelerated is going to be this one. So this is a daily chart. And I'm going to get the average for these. And I'm going to confirm this more on a 3-day and 2-day chart. Oops. Visibility on intervals. I'm going to do all intervals right now because it wasn't showing up. All right, so there is going to be more of our confirmation. Let's see how many of these I can collect. There we go. Good. So here I'm going to use this to collect these 3 points before that weakness came in. And this is going to let me know when a more short-term health arrives. And you can see it's quite far away. It's going to be somewhere along this track. We can calculate an exact price using our art by simply taking a price note and going up to somewhere about next week and putting it down there. Now we know this is a dynamic number, a negative number. Current price is 34 cents, but this resistance up here is at 7 cents, and it's going to 70 cents, and it's going to go down as time goes on. So in April, it's going around 62 cents, but if it's around next week or around the month of December 27th, it's 70 cents. All right, so that's how that goes. So now let's go back down to the 3-day the daily chart, but I will take a screenshot for you, and I'll also remind you of the larger story chart so you guys can draw those important areas. Then we're going to go back down to the daily chart. Hey, where's that yeah, here it is. And let's put this back on November 3rd. Good. So you guys have a record of that from our previous charts. And now let's see where we're at. Okay, so we're at a DP. We had projected a DP down here at 296 and 26 cents. Let's see what this DP is calculated based on, if I can. Is that a swing target or DP? Where's that DP based on? Maybe it was a smaller one. I wrote DP. It might be a swing target because it's pink. That's interesting. I might have labeled that wrong. Either way, we're there. This might be a place for a bounce. Let's take a look at the volume. If there's professional buying coming in here, we'd want to see it increase on the way down. We'd want to see volume rising. So let's take a look. All right, I see some volume rising here only on the micro, so not as a whole. I don't really see this shape as a whole. I do see high profit taking here on the white one, right there, right about there. We do see some buying coming in, possibly on this bar, and possibly on this bar, and then and possibly on that bar. So there's some evidence that there may be some small buying in the micro. So I will note that. And that's a good sign for a possible, if it's into health, we'd view that as buying. In its current context, we cannot confirm it yet. But let's put this on the map. And I'm going to put possible buying, entering, theta, and I need to make sure I put small so we know the context. And let me make this smaller. All right. All right, so that's one's all done. So we can delete that arrow. Just continue to leave that in the past over there. Let's draw a new marker. It's likely we're going to get a phase into health and get some kind of bounce back up. At the moment, since I don't know how far the bounce will go, I'll leave the image just like this. Let's do target system for this. So we're going to take the high, and since I have a high here, we're going to use that as the high. I'll quickly place on our fixed range volume profile, which we can use for a target system. I'm going to bring it down to the very bottom, and we're going to use that to measure. And it's going to give me a resistance somewhere about right here as a target. And let's bring up the opacity so you can see it. All right, there it is, right there. Let's put a price on there for our target, 0.64 and 0.60. Good, good, good. Finally, I'm going to draw the smaller targets on the bottom side. They're going to be here. And these are just going to give you the numbers as well. 4.2, 4.6. And here. All right. Since this is going to be our swing area right here, I'm also going to give this our swing target and border, denoting by the two highest peaks in the area. This is going to be about average somewhere here. So I'm just going to keep the same one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a border so I can use 2 for the price of 1. So instead of just a target, I'm going to click border, bring up the opacity, and give it our swing pink target color. All right. Let's put these prices on for the middle one, and we're almost done with this chart. Any other questions you can think of for theta before I move on? Okay. All right, so now we would make, if we get a bounce out of here, we would come to here. Now we don't have the health yet, so it's not time to buy. I gotta be very careful. I'm not in health. I can even move into weakness further underneath these areas. It's very possible. All right. Any other questions for me at the moment. Going once. Going twice. If we continue falling now, I'm going to be looking to get towards 17. All right, I'll take that as everything you guys want to know. All right, let's move on so you can watch those areas with great gusto. All right, let me continue. Let me check your guys's chat. We want to look at Toshi and WM. WM. All right, I'll add that one. All right, there. I'm on a full roster there. All right. Melody, shorten this up, please. Thank you. The next one I'm going to look at is XRP. Professional buying. All right. Let's go to XRP. All right, as you guys know, XRP, in my opinion, has some weaknesses, as I've talked about entering into this. I made a public report regarding XRP. So let's talk about some of the things coming into XRP. All right, here it is. December 3rd, XRP continues to show supply has not been absorbed. Buyers are losing. Without health, this is more appropriate to break to the downside. All right, so in addition to this oscillation going upward like here, and what we mean by that is price playing within this realm. These are the smaller energy centers. This is basically what's happening. So price is doing this and then it enters here, and we go down and we bounce on the underside. Does that look familiar to you? Does this move look familiar to you right now? It should. We just talked about it on Theta. Okay, remember, Theta broke to the downside November 3rd. We knew it was on its way down because of the large weaknesses that entered, and there was lack of health. But there was other signs that would let us know that we're more going down. So when you see weaknesses like this, alarm bells should be ringing off. It is not safe. A lot of people try to buy a bottom, but it's like catching a falling knife. And I teach this, and I've been teaching this in the past month. Have a reason for every trade you take. If you're buying XRP right now, have a reason. Now, I don't at the moment have a reason. I don't have a health this way. I don't have a health this way. There's no health here. Okay, there's no health here. We're definitely not here up in the sky yet. We're not even beating the accelerated adjustment down here. We're still rejecting off of the tops there. Does this make sense, guys? I got 3 tops just on this line alone, and we hit it another time 4 as we're in that weakness. So there's that weakness. Look at it in red. We're bouncing in the vortex here. We come down. This is a very dangerous thing for me. Not only that, but we have another up move we can possibly hunt. And look what happened just yesterday. Yesterday we got a close right there underneath this candle. Just look at all the pressure on the underside. So now we're even hunting this up move here, December, Sunday. You say, well, Jason, we're here. Well, this candle isn't closed. Be careful, at least trying to buy. Now, if you're going to buy You got to be real careful with that buying. If you're not shorting, that's okay. But if you're considering buying, be careful. You got to have a reason to trade. Now, one of the other things we examined on XRP is the large flat that goes across this line. We've examined it and examined it and examined it until I was blue in the face. We talked about it. I showed you the volume was increasing at those areas. And because the volume is increasing at this challenge area, or this VZV, this volume zone block, that tells us that the buyers, even if there's buyers here, they're not winning. Here's the volume. Look, guys. This is how I have a higher prediction or a higher statistical edge that USDT.D will go up, because the volume at the challenge areas keeps increasing. Well, here, the volume on the lower side keeps increasing. Okay? Look at, we known about this area, $2. It should be about $2 range, right? We've known about it, the 190s, somewhere around $2, okay, on average. We've known about this area for years. You guys can look at my old chart. We knew about it when we were way before we even jumped up there into that area, way before. You guys can watch my old videos for that. But even so, price for it to build and sustain and go higher has to remove the supply from this area. What's happening is, if it's challenging, and we've challenged it several times, but we have not been able to remove the supply, at least since October. When we came down, it revealed there was a lot of volume. So we challenged it more appropriately. Remember, it's not time to buy, okay? You kind of want to say, this is never a financial investment or trade advice of any kind. This is always just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. But if I was going to buy this, I want to buy this, or I need to buy this in a health or a health type area. I have to be careful, because I'd rather miss that move out of the blue than be wrong without a health. Now you can say, well, Jason, maybe there's a health back here based on this kind of stuff. Yes, and maybe that's why some of this maybe bounced here. But again, when we have buyers that have identified themselves, we can actually see if buyers are winning or losing just by comparison of the relational, the macro relational, the overall story in relationship. So I don't want to just see individual buying. I want to see their relationship to each other. And so for that, we have a legend. The legend is absorption, winning conditions, and absorption, losing conditions. I'll draw it for you real quickly so you can always remember who's who and which is which. For a winning condition, and I draw like a little green check mark, and I circle it, we have the following: absorption / control, okay, for a winning condition, and absorption / control for a losing condition. And this is what we're going to be calculating today for the buyers, okay? So of the legend, if I'm going to be controlling, I need these three, or to look like these fall into the category of winning condition. We're going to see a decrease in volume. We're going to see aggregately low or no demand volume. Okay. For a losing condition, we're going to see an increase in volume. We're going to see equal to volume, or we're going to see aggregately high, which is just overall high or overall low in relationship to its neighbors. Okay, that's what I mean by that. Okay, so let me show you how that works in real life. If we're calculating for the supply based on the laws of supply and demand in here, we can see that every time they are challenging at these areas, the supply has not been removed. Now it started here, we had a decrease, but when we challenged one more time, we went up back to equal to. Okay, so this was saying, hey, we're not done yet. So it was trending in the right direction, and then it's not. And let me put some letters on here. A, B, C, D, and E. And what happens for XRP, and I've taught this several times, even publicly, we are not winning the absorption game. We only continue to increase. And it's not just a fluke. It's not just a little one. You can see these other ones here too. And those are all within the quadrant or the area that we're expecting. And so what we're seeing here is the relationship is showing that there is much more volume even overall than all of these before it. Okay. And I'm calculating for this one, not that white one right there. Okay. Eraser. There we go. So everything that I'm doing right here is showing me a story, and the story is saying, "Hey guys, the buyers are getting tired. They're not winning. They're not able to overcome the supply. It's very expensive. So if they keep launching buying campaigns, but the price keeps going up, eventually they say, you know what, we're just going to let the market relax, come to where it's naturally at until we have the winning edge. And that's going to be a supply test." Now, most of the time when they're losing, the more they lose, the more case it makes for a higher down move. And that happens. Right now, what's happening is that the supply is not being absorbed. So I'm going to circle this part of the legend, and that's the one that's going to have it. So we're going to say right now there's a more higher statistical edge or probability that XRP will go down. And this is why I made a public report, 2 weeks ago? Maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, something like that. When we were in these areas, I said there's signs that we're going to challenge and there's signs that we're not winning. So this is a weekly chart, right? So that should be about 3 weeks ago or so. We are not winning this battle, and it's more confirmed even now today on December 8th. Okay, so if you guys are watching this, and I'll even put the data real strong so you guys gonna have it. December 8th, and I'll put this report, and I'm gonna put this right about here, and for everybody, this is XRP. December 8th, 2025. Volume still shows strong signs of lack of absorption / control. This matches my previous public XRP market report, Q4 market reports. It's not how you spell quarter. All right. I'll put Q4 reports because I don't know how to spell quarter. This matches my previous Q4 market report. Today, this is even more confirmed and brings a stronger probability, because we cannot force the market to do anything, that XRP will fall. All right, so this is what the data is showing me. And again, remember, have a reason for everything you do. Okay. This is showing there's a strong probability XRP is going to fall. All right, so if we're going to fall, how low will we fall? All right, well, Jason, that's great. Well, we already did target system. I got a target of 126 to 113, and then I have a old step up around 116 to 102, and that kind of overlaps somewhere in the middle. So I'm going to be looking somewhere either in the middle or around the low side. There are 3 places that often get hit on a target system. One is conservative, the other is liberal, and the other is smack dab exactly in the middle. It's very, very common. The other areas that we would be possibly looking at are some of these other reverberation areas that price may come through based on these old key angles here. The DPs were up here and price sat down on those DPs, but the reverberations may still be alive because of the echo from there. Even though we're disrespecting it right now, this old DP, it is very possible, and it's that one, so I'll fade that away. But it's very possible that we may come down to a lower number of around 140 first and then hit some of these. But overall, I still think that that's what's going to be the case. I think we're going to hit these areas. Now, currently, I have a smaller target on the board, 176, 162, and then below that, 126, 113. So those are the two areas. Now, for this trigger, for this one to trigger, I need to be below below this price, 156. So if I'm below 150s, then I'm going to say, yeah, we're going down here, and I will duplicate and make a new public prediction for that area. Okay, right now it's just a target that's on the map, but it's not triggered. Okay, the one that's triggered on the map, I'm sorry, over here, it's not triggered yet. So I'm not going to publicly call that, but I am calling this number based on the data I've seen, and you guys seen that one. So that's part of my previous reports. All right, so it's not business buyers alone without this health break to the downside. Yep, so everything's there. So yeah, that's how I'm going to view that. We may get a bounce out of that area. I'm going to be looking to hit that area first, and then we can talk about the next target. Does anybody have any other questions on my thoughts? XRP. All right, November 15th, challenge area is still important until the buyers win. Bears are still powerful in XRP. Yep. So nothing new to discuss. Let me take. Okay, thank you, Royal. Let me now put my image that I took and copy that. Anyone else? XRP going once? My thoughts on XRP. Doesn't mean I'm right. These are my thoughts and opinions based on the data that I can see. Alex, go ahead. Okay. Really? Well, confirmation. Let's write this down. Alex Dive community had a dream. He saw XRP at 116. He was going to ask about it, but saw our chart today matching that area. This is new for him. All right. Good. And that's great news, Alex. We can use that. Okay. Let me make this one big since it's the important stuff. Will we bounce at 176? Well, I don't know if we're gonna bounce, but we'll be the first to know when it's okay to start shorting again. As it is, this is the areas where you want to consider starting to short. The only problem is I don't want to short while USDT.D is unclear or USDT.D is at its decision. And as we talked about already, USDT.D is at its decision. I like to make sure that that one's on it, clearly in its new territory, on its up and up. But I gotta wait for that. I gotta wait for that one. 6.3 will be the next trigger. Then I would probably take a short on something that's weak. Otherwise, XRP, even if it is going down, can waste my time. All right, as it is, the health comes in above that line. So that's when you want to start, make sure you're not in shorts. Be careful. Look for your next areas. Look for shortcuts. Look for things like that. Stretch out your lines, but let it be all in alignment, and that's going to stack odds in your favor. All right. iPad says, Jay Song, there's a loud echo when others talk. Let me make sure that echo cancellation is on. Yeah, over here. Okay, one moment, guys. Yeti. Okay. All right. Can someone quickly test their microphone, please, for me? Okay. I can still hear them. Good. All right. There might be an echo. Let me make sure I turn my sound on my side down so I'm not echoing too loud for you guys. You guys notice I don't record just with a mic here, but I do have a mic behind the computer. Okay, let's continue. We're gonna go to the next one. Google. I'm gonna put my thoughts just quickly here for XRP. Bearish volume indicate falling XRP. Structures indicate weakness. Waiting for USDT.D to confirm short entries. 176 to 162. Then next weakness is next weakness will trigger further shorts towards 126 to 113. All right. I'm going to go now to Google. Let's take a look at Google, Class A. Google should be Alphabet, right? No, oops, let me put another O in here. Who requested Google? John Lee? GOOG. Okay. And then we're looking for Class A. Here we go. Here we go. BMV. Let me confirm. It should be about approximately the same price. 5815. Okay, good. 319. Okay, the structure should be almost identical, but let me just see what I thought my last thoughts were. Okay, so we have an old chart for Google, how Google is performing, and this is good. This is a good positive territory for Google to be in, above this area. Currently, that price is the breakouts 298 along this track, and that trend was holding just quite nicely. So that's great. We had some resistance, and then the breakout. We'd want to see high volume during that breakout, and we got it. So that's a good sign right there. Okay. So let's go now to that Class A one. Which should be just a sub part of Google. All right, good. All right, let's go to. Okay, so you don't want to look at individually Class A. Okay, well, good. We'll just go back to the other one. Okay, I'll update this. Goog. All right, let's go. I can see 3 main accumulation areas on Google. At the previous top in 2021, there was no major dump. Price fell on lack of interest. And this means that the market needed to cool down. Talking about this area here. As demonstrated in today's video, November 6th. Because of this, I would not be bearish, Google. I would still be looking for a profit along the top areas. In the upper monthly phantom closer to 252 areas, dynamic positive. That means that as time goes on, this number will be higher. So that's why we moved that one that I just deleted that price just a few minutes ago. Why we moved it, because it goes up along that track, whatever the highest price would be. So by the time it hit, we knew this oscillation, and by the time it hit, the price was around $300. So if all you did was get out at your tops based on your oscillations, you're going to be more successful. Okay, you're going to find yourself triggering that. So remember, price isn't just stagnant. I'll put a price here on the track, but remember, dynamic positive means the number goes up each week, okay, or each month in this case. And dynamic negative, if the number was going down, if we had a trend line that was going down for whatever reason, that number goes lower each month. So you got to be careful. This was why for years I always say this phrase: I don't care the price. I really don't care the price at all. I care the angles. The angles will let me calculate the price, because the price will always change unless we're only dealing with flat numbers. Then there are cases where the flats will come into play. But until then, we don't really care much about angles. We care about we don't care much about price. We care about the angles, because that's what's most important. All right. So let's continue now, and let's see what we can find regarding this. So last we were talking about this move, we were talking about harmony. So this is what we were discussing, some of the principles that can serve us well. And it's harmony. And harmony is that the volume will follow an increase in the areas where it wants to go and decrease in the areas that it's not really going. And we can use, of course, health and resistance in our maps like normal. But primarily what we're trying to find is when price is starting to go the wrong direction. For example, if price continues to go up, but the volume continues to go down, then it's like a car going uphill. Someone takes their foot off the gas. Eventually, it slows down, and you'll start seeing a mushroom effect. Okay, so that's part of the whole macro harmony aspect, and that's one way we can gauge volume. So here we can see that let's see, the volume was increasing in these areas, and then we started to fall towards the end. Price fell, but during the fall, we can see that price wasn't as interested. So the buyers weren't as interested in this down move as they probably should have. And then strong volume on the individual bars came at the bottom, and the moves into health. So price was allowed to fall, and then some buying came in, some small buying, and that's why I had this little white flag here for Google. So this is telling us that it was interested in that. Now, when we started going up here, during those times, we can see that price was also moving into these areas a bit on lack of interest. But these last few months, we started going up on that increase of volume again. So they want this up move. So this move is good. The other good things that we can see about Google is that the spreads are getting wider. And that's a good sign, even on the monthly chart. We want those spreads to be getting wider. When the spreads start getting smaller, we're seeing more trading in a smaller amount of areas. If the volume's increasing, but the spreads are still getting smaller and smaller, especially if the move's into health, don't be surprised if there was some dumping and selling in there, some really tight. That means all the offerings were being quickly taken. So here we want to see wider spreads going up. So I'm going to say that Google's in a more healthier position, even now in this uptrend. We are going to most likely start accelerating from this current oscillation. So what I mean by that is price has been playing within this range, right? Well, every now and then we start accelerating faster, just the same as when we are looking at other cryptocurrencies like we were looking at today. We sometimes start going muted and then we start going very fast and we start accelerating very fast. Because of those faster accelerants, we can draw more accelerated adjustment lines. And we have a specific lesson for this called AAL, accelerated adjustment line. This is how we can do this in Google, because you notice that we've been bouncing first on these lines here. Well, why didn't we do it here then? We made a new high, but we didn't do it here. So how do we calculate for that? Well, it's quite simple. We just mark that low and draw another accelerated from the accelerated line from the last low. So I'm going to do it for you. Here, we'll use a white, and I'll use this dotted color. Actually, let's use a dash. Okay. So I'm going to draw this, but instead of keeping the same angle, we're going to now bring this up to compensate for that. And I'm going to not use the cores. I'm sorry, I'm not going to use the wicks. I'm going to use the cores in this example. The reason I use the cores is so that I can calculate for the conservative angle. Okay, that means I'm trying to be more conservative. If, however, I find that when I duplicate the line, I match the wicks, which are here, there's some wicks, and they match other areas here, then I'm going to stress the wick or the range. But in this case, the core here and the core here is good enough for me. All right, when I have that, now I'm going to take this and we're going to duplicate this to the highest energy center within this area. And in this case, it's going to be here. So I have 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to take this angle, duplicate it, and place it up there. Now this is going to do a few things for me. You're going to say, well, Jason, we're already above that line. Yes. And what this happens is this now acts like a bit of a vortex for me here at that moment. So if price drifts and then we stop here and we start coming back up, I'm going to be looking at this bounce from that area as a very, very strong bounce, because now we're beating out not just the larger oscillation at this angle for Google, but we're also beating out the more sharper acceleration, this one. And so both are telling us a very good news for this stock, especially if we can confirm that. Now we cannot confirm this one here because we would need another resistance. Now maybe we got one right there. Maybe that's one right there that would confirm. So maybe that's not so bad, especially, and you can have a little leeway of error, especially in the stock market. It's a little more leeway. So maybe that's your verification here. But in either case, I'm going to be viewing both of that. Breakout is important. Okay, so we can use that as support. 323 is around the area that price can hit. Another way that this would work as well is if price comes down to this area right here and also spikes into that zone. So that's also very, very viable. Okay, so both of those would be considered bullish. And if price is on this side right here, we'd want to view that as a health. But if price also fades below there, and especially if we go up to that corner again, that would also be a bearish thing. So those are how you can read some of that data. All right, so this is all for the monthly chart of Google. I don't have any reason to be a little bit bearish. I am going to draw one more for you guys on this chart. But let me take a screenshot. No new update. Oh, sorry. Somebody's drawn some on my screen. iPad. 1 second. DP. He's talking about DP. Asking about DP. Yeah. But let me first draw my smaller accelerants, and then we can draw get to the DP. Okay, so here's the smaller accelerant, accelerated adjustment line, and this one is going to be a bit of a parabolic, and I'm going to sharpen it up a bit to compensate for these bottoms here. So that's going to give me an angle somewhere about right here. And how this would work and help you is if price starts phasing below here, that's the first signs that we're going to be falling back down. So if that happens, that would look like that. Otherwise, because we're already accelerating so much, we really need to keep this momentum going. So that's how that would work. Okay. And if the numbers were hit today or next month, or I'm sorry, this is a weekly chart, or they would be around 296. Okay, for Google. All right. I see some questions in the chat. I'll get to them in just a few moments. One of them is about XRP. I do see that. And then now we're going to DP this, but this monthly line. Let me save myself a little time by only giving myself one. All right. And then we can DP that. Now, does anybody know why I'm not going to stress DP so much right now for this? Does anybody know why I would not stress DP so much for this at the moment? Can anybody think of a reason why I don't want to put so much emphasis on DP at the moment for this? Even though I'm drawing it. Go ahead and unmute your mic if you can. Nobody can think of a reason why I personally wouldn't be put too much weight on this DP. Ooh, that was good. $647. Okay. The reason I'm not putting so much weight in a DP is for this particular stock is because I only have the bottom. I don't have an extra verification on the top. So I got these energy centers that we've drawn in the past. We saw a lack of major profit taken on some of those other moves in the past. But that's part of the bullishness. But the reason I'm not pressing so much weight on the oscillation is because of the top energy center, there's only just that place to put it on. I don't have an extra hit there. If I had an extra hit, I'm more like, yeah, the oscillation. And as what we did in the previous examples, stress the borders. Because I don't have any other thing, I mean, I just blew right past it too, right? I don't know how much weight I would put on it. I would put more weight if I had more hits. So it's not saying DP can't be hit. It's not saying DP is wrong. It's just I like it better when I have more verification of the top side. I would love to have hit it somewhere and then, because I hit the bottom 3 times, right? And that's good, right? So I know the angle's strong, and that should be something, and that's probably good. But I love to have at least 2 hits on top. So I want to place it here, and I want to say something for it. Okay, so that's just a little something I'll give you guys to put more weight in our art regarding that, since I only have 1 hit. So DP is something you can definitely use. All right, I'm going to use I'm going to quickly do circle and a circle projection, and we'll see where we get. I got a nice round structure here, and because time is short, I'm not going to explain this. We will continue to explain this more on Saturday. I mean on Wednesday. Okay, we did a tutorial last week regarding this. right. CP at 381 area, we might be looking for one of our next resistances. And the other CP is going to be closer in the sky, closer to the 900s. It does not mean price is going there. We use this for resistance areas, so we're going to look at those in the future. Okay. I'll check the chat right now. And this one we could probably use the DP on. iPad, that's a good one here because we got more weight. We got some hits on the top, or likely to be on the top. This is going to be something we want to DP. Good job, iPad. All right, so this is going to paint a story in the sky. And I'm going to lower the weight on some of these. And I'm going to label this. And then I'll get you guys some prices finally. So this is around. So Google, if it continues to be bullish, I might be looking close to 400 and 380 for Google. So that's how I would want to look at that one. All right. Any other questions regarding my take on Google right now in the market? Okay. So I'd be looking for this. I'd be looking for hold on to this one until I had the clear signs of weaknesses. All right. Let me go to the chats and see where you guys had. All right. Okay, the first question is, I'm currently in an XRP short, hedging against my spot, both ways, up and down. I'll be happy. Thank you, peace of mind. Okay, that's not a question. Arshad, I'm new in trading and not so much clear about volume, how it works. Can you make it more simple possible? Thanks. This is Arshad. iPad says, does the dash line have a confirmation? Kind of. If you're talking about the Google one, yeah, it kind of has that confirmation. That's the best I can do for this Google. That one right here. All right. Thank you for sharing. Oh, you're looking for a confirmation of the past. Oh, good. You can use that as a confirmation of the past. But when I'm only calculating for this particular accelerated oscillation, generally I'm concerned with just the things for here. So this would be like an adjacent reverberation, and may really stress the importance of that weight. That would mean that this would be longer, you know. But since this is the largest of those, generally all the stuff I'm looking at are going to be, you know, either within here. So you can use that as the confirmation in the past for this, and there may be something stronger forming there in the future that will be yet to be revealed. You might see it. Okay. And that might have something to do with that right there. So that's a good catch. Good job, iPad. Fantastic as always. Christian says, at times it can be confirmation for others that have received lower numbers, and also confirmation for others to set buy orders. Also, when technical on the charts and prophetic start to align, it's really amazing. I agree. Angelica says, for XRP, should we sell our XRP now and buy back when the price goes around 113? I can't tell everybody what to do. I think everybody should have a long-term bag of XRP for unexpected events. And XRP, I know there's some ministers like Pastor Crypto Knight. He'll say things like, Never sell your XRP, you know, and there's people that will say that. I'm not in that camp. I won't tell you that. I think for people who have specific timing, there's things you need to do when you need to move in and move out, and there's times when things will be blatantly taken away, but you'll be at a better advantageous position through either divine intervention to prosper in that. For example, Jacob. You know, he had his wages changing many times, but God was still able to prosper him. When Laban says, well, he says, well, then your wages will be the speckled sheep. Okay, so he had a new account to start with, basically, and God was able to prosper him in that. So really, you can really prosper in famines and times of the abundance, because during the abundance, Joseph was to receive some of that and put it aside, right? So, but also part of that was his seed money. The other things that he did was during the famine, he was able to multiply that greatly during the famine because he was selling it to the right people. So there's times when the selling process is part of either a preservation of wealth or a new strategy and skill. He had to be skilled in both buying and selling. So that's as the Proverbs 31 woman says, she considers a field and she buys it. She sees her trading is successful. So she's also buying and selling. Sometimes you get rid of money for a crypto or a wealth or a seed or an investment, and other times you're selling an investment for wealth and seed. So with that, I would say you can do certain moves, but I would not take the short or the sell on XRP just yet until the next weakness is confirmed. So even though the probabilities for XRP is that XRP will fall, in my opinion, if that's in my opinion, I think we're going to go down to 162. I cannot confirm we're getting down to 113 yet, because remember, 113 doesn't trigger yet. It doesn't even trigger. So I think right now we're more at a higher state to hit 162 or 176 or somewhere within that range, and that'll be good enough for me, and then we can bounce out and go up. I think it's better. I would probably change your number from 113 to 176 if I'm being conservative. If the weakness triggers here, I'm going to be more likely to hit that 113 to 1626 area. So that's how I would trade that, Angelina. Okay. Let's read the next question. What's the best way to sell come of my XRP bags? What is the best way to sell come of my XRP bags and hold stable coins so I can buy back XRP at a lower price? Should I use USDT, USDC, DAI, XRPL? This is the XRP ledger. Or something in my spirit says use the XRPL, but appreciate your thoughts. I haven't used the XRPL yet. If it's a stable coin, I probably trust maybe XRPL. I know a lot of people in the communities use USDC. I lean that way. I still use USDT.D. I know it's going to fall, but not today. I don't think it's going to fall today. It could fall one day, and it will fall, I believe. But I think we still have time to use it, in my personal opinion. The time will come when you need to stop using USDT. Okay. Anyone else? XRP, Google. Anyone else? Okay. Bullish. I'm bullish Google towards 338. 330 towards 381 areas. Current price is 318. Until phasing through parabolic support. Then back down towards 296. All right. Okay, anyone else before I move on? Going once. Going twice. December 8th, 2025. All right, let's move on. I'm going to go to XDC. We'll finish up with these cryptos here. I'm going to duplicate this so you guys can see it a little bigger. Melody, can you shorten up this part of the video, please? Thank you. XDC. Okay, XDC, one we do see long-term accumulation on. However, it does not mean that the buyers are winning at the moment. So currently in the camp of XRP, or in the larger story of XDC, my previous videos, I said this. In XDC, we can examples of buyers losing. This indicates lower XDC prices in the future. This combined with weakness confirms this. This makes for a continuing case of bearishness. When combined with the bearish crypto market, it makes higher prices difficult this season. Bullishness after 0.027 is still active, but with little profit until 0.085. None of this gives much structure in my mind, neither is any in play. Therefore, more appropriately, I still expect 0.043 and 0.38 is where price needs to round or build upon a nice bounce, and price will need to be examined at this area. So 0.043 areas is where I'm looking for price to go and build, and that was from my previous report back, our commentary in November 19th. It looks like that was the last. Okay. All right, so 0.43, that's still where we're on. The weakness is still in play, as we have been expecting. Let's go to our daily chart. I'm just going to give you guys some areas on my map that I think is important. And so this was a weakness underneath, rounding underneath this here. It's letting us know we're more likely to fall. And that was due to some of the challenge areas that we saw and the increase in volume at those areas that let us know that we're likely losing and going to break down. And here's one of the things one of the things that we're looking at is the round structure underneath this area, already in a negative territory. And we have a thundercut support approximately here. So that's where we still may get some bounces in, but ultimately I think we're going to fall to this this area right there in the corner where this box is. That's where my prediction is, and the number is 0.43 to 0.48. So I would be looking to try to short this down there, but again, I'm waiting for USDT.D to give me the next permission when to start shorting this again. All right, so why there? Well, part of that is this foundational area way back here. It's like something like this, and I think we can draw it on the weekly chart. It's somewhere along this line. And the other thing is that we have a larger target system based on some larger areas here. The other things we can see is there's a larger sword cut in this area. This is the range from that sword cut. That's the range. Let's put that back. And so all of that is from these areas. Now, ultimately, what I actually believe is happening is that price is simply just oscillating flat like this. And the confirmations we have is these two tops and these bottoms, 1, 2, 3. This is what I'm talking about when I'm more for DP stuff. If I break above here, I'm going to be looking to draw those DPs up into the sky. Right now, I just kind of have a little bit of a placeholder where it's going to be at. Somewhere in those areas, $2.07. Current prices, all the way down at 0.04 cents. But that might be if you saw crypto go from 4 cents to $2, that's a huge movement, right? But right now, none of those are in play. The other things that we can see at the bottom is that the flat comes back out, and we just stress the borders when we have that. So I have a lot of confirmation why we want to be looking at some of the lower prices if some of these upper ones are not holding. And sure enough, I continue to see weakness. So this is why XDC, in my opinion, still needs to come down a little bit lower. We also have this large parabolic on the top, which tells us that the real health won't come in for quite a while, not until we're above 7 cents average. So a lot of reasons why I'm still on the downside. I don't expect this to continue to do anything super good for me right now. Okay. Any other questions for XDC at the moment? Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This one's around January 12th. And then this, yeah, the shortest one is January 12th. Some of the longest one is around March 16th. So, if we're falling down the mountain, I'm not looking for a huge crash on that. Only from 4 9 to around 4 or 3 9. So not super big, and a nice bounce out of there. Be nice. Really? Good. Happy early birthday in case I forget. Because I will forget your birthday. By the way, Melody's birthday is coming up. I better not forget. I told you guys what I did. I celebrated our anniversary. I woke up real early and she was like, "Oh, we're celebrating early." And she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh, well, okay." So we spent the whole day and celebrated our anniversary. And she was like, at the end of the day, it was like 9 o'clock at night. She looks over at me with loving eyes and she says, "Thank you for all that you did." And I was like, "Yeah, I hope I made it a good anniversary." She looked at me so confused. She says, "You really do think today's our anniversary, don't you?" And I go, "Wait, what?" And she was like, "It's not our anniversary today." I go, "What? Why did you let me spend all day?" She said, "Because I thought you wanted to. You said you want to celebrate early." I said, "Well, yeah, you could." She said early was 7 a.m. She said, "No, I didn't mean early the time. I meant early the day. Like, our anniversary is not till the 28th." And I'm like, "But it's the 20th, and our anniversary is the 20th." And she goes, "No, my birthday's on the 20th." On the 20th the next month. And I'm like, "Oh man." I was like, and I thought I did so good. I was like, "Yes, I woke up today, didn't need my alarms. I didn't need my calendars to remind me." It was like, don't do that, guys. No, we tried, and I'm glad that we actually got a chance to celebrate everything. We were at my brother's house, but it was the week after Thanksgiving, and they were doing a lot of like cleaning, and we tried to sit down, and my son was having a fit, and we only got to sit down and hold hands for like a little bit, and we had a meaningful talk, but everyone around us is moving and cleaning, and we were in Phoenix, and we were at their house, and it was just hectic, and I was like, and I looked at her and I said, "I'm so glad we celebrated on the 20th because we wouldn't have had a chance to have. We would have probably got angry that it was our anniversary. We would have got angry that we wouldn't have had peace, on that day. But even though it was like super hectic and we had no peace for as far as the day goes, um, it was like we had comfort in that we did celebrate early. So that was a good thing. Happy ending. All right. Anyone else before I go into the next cryptos? Okay, I'm still bearish down towards 43 to 043 to 038. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Polygon. What's that? I've done this before. Matic, right? It should be Matic. Okay. Where is my chart on this? And I don't have a chart. All right. 12 cents. Looks like I don't have my old chart, so I have to make a new one. I don't like using crypto.com because they don't have volume. Let's see. Coinbase got some volume. We'll use Coinbase. And before I commit to that, let's see. 12 cents. 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 12 Let's see how far back the data goes here. All right. Oh, we're going to need to use a little bit of both charts. Okay, guys? All right. First thing I'm going to do is, I can't use target system. All right. Let me just double check these foundational areas. This is going to have almost everything we need to know. This crypto became really dangerous here, and that's going to be really where the down move kicked in, right? So almost everything we needed to know was there. All right, we'll calculate for event line. That's important. And there was a question about volume earlier. We are going to have new filming for volume in 2017 as we continue in our sword method 7.0. 2017? Oh man, I'm a decade behind. 2027. Didn't it feel like 2017 was just like yesterday?
2026.
Oh, 2026 is next year, huh? I thought we were in 2026 already. I did. I'm in the past and the future, guys. Can you believe that? Who can say that? I can. I can say that. Yeah, be in the moment, Melody said. All right, so we're looking to be at bottoms. Let me take a look at a 2-week chart to see if I can tighten that up. Yep, I can. Good. All right. So this is a bottom, or it's been at a bottom. Are we winning this bottom? I will volume this on the other charts, and we'll take a look. We're going to look at the relationship between A, B, and C to let us know if we're coming into health, and then we'll draw this the sharper health and give that a color. All right. That's most of what we want to on this crypto.com chart. Okay, let's go to, you guys can take a screenshot if you like. Let's go to Magic now, Polygon, on that one new Coinbase chart. $0.19. Oh, that's two different prices, isn't it? $0.12. Did they split it in two? Lisa, do you know? Okay. POL. Not the, oh, this one. Okay, well, that one still works. I don't see KuCoin here. I got Bybit, Binance, and that's it. Here I got USD and Gemini, Bitfinex. I don't see KuCoin yet. Okay. Oh, here's an old Binance. Well, look at there's a old Binance. POLUSD. Oh, I don't have nothing there. And that's 12 cents. Okay, yeah. That was the one I just made. Okay, so yeah. Since it's fairly new, that's about going to be the data that we have for this. So we're going to use it. All right, so it looks like it's an offshoot of Matic. and we'll just take it in its stride. The price of this is 12 cents. Come. Okay, large profit taking happening on this crypto. Something to be aware of. Large up bars, up moves, all of them into a weakness. With large profit taking just before, that's going to indicate selling, professional selling happening in these areas. Okay, so I don't have a right to buy it until I see signs of professional accumulation, so I want to be aware of that. I got one verification in the past when I place it here at the top energy centers. I would be looking for probably to fall to about right there right now. I'll have to get the price for you guys, but that's something. Now we do see strong volume starting to come into the down move in this area. And that might be signs of buying. We can only use that, however, as confirmed signs of buying or as a sign of buying once the health comes in. So I would need to be somewhere here at least, and then I can take a trade up to the top side, and then I still got to be careful with it until I get the next real health. So once I have a health, we can take it. So that's two trades that you'd want to be looking at that in. Does that make sense? Okay. You guys understand that? We'd want to be careful with it crossing here. Just get out and then come back in if you need to once you have signs of other health. But there may be some signs of buying that is coming in. I cannot confirm it because we don't have a health. Once that's set in stone, then we can confirm that. Okay. Let's draw that real quick right now, and we'll be able to finish that up. Okay. All right. Can anybody think any other questions they may have for me on Matic? Or I'm sorry, not Matic, Poly. Don't mean to call it the old name. All right, I'm going to move on in just a moment. I got a bottom here on closer to 0.7, dynamic negative. So that's that part. Is it on a mid phantom is the question. No, I don't think so. I think it's just a little bit below it, right? Yep. Yep. It's a little below it. All right, let's take a look at step ups. Let's take a look at. Yep, that's about all I'm going to get to right now. Okay, I'm not so much concerned about RSI price base since I don't have a new high. Okay, so I won't be looking at that. I will be looking at pullbacks. Not a super strong pullback. Okay, all right. So wait for a health coming in above your white line. If you're in a bullish mode, go ahead and set alarm for yourself. It's closer to right now 12.9, which is about 13 cents. Current price is 12.3, and that's what I'll be looking at right now regarding this. Okay, all right. Let's move on. So that's Poly. Signs of professional selling in the background. Possible buying, entering, but no health to confirm this. All right. The next one is called R. I think it's RSR. Sorry, RSR. The date on here. All right, looks like I did this one before. What did I find last time? All right, last time, high volume, up move after weakness occurs, often a sign of weakness. Professional selling, so we're gonna have some high volume moves in those areas into weakness. It looks like what we found last time. This is more of, again, what we just saw in Poly and a few other cryptos. So you guys learn this. You're gonna get good at reading your maps. You're gonna get real good. Okay. You're going to know almost everything you need to know by looking for some of these key features that you're looking at. Foundational areas is super critical. When they get cut, you start paying attention. You start watching what's happening in these areas. Okay? And pay attention to what happened at the highest areas before those weaknesses come in. When those high areas come in, on high volume, up bars, up moves, and up trends, you know exactly what's happening. Okay, remember, professional selling happens on up bars, up moves, and up trends. I don't know how to tell you guys any more than that. Just shout it from the rooftops so you guys can learn it until you get it. I'm going to show you something really quick after this, but here's your high all volume up bars on those moves. When you see those high volume bars, but the move is into weakness, it lets you know something's wrong. How can, if it's really buying, that is all this activity, and it could be buying or selling, but because it's just activity, that's all volume is. But in this context, it lets you know what it is. How can this be buying if the move is down and to the right and into weakness? How can this be buying if the move is down to the right and into weakness? There's your shortcut, by the way. It can't, right? How can we keep moving into weakness if it's really buying here? No, it's selling. Professional selling looks like this at the top. Okay. So you guys got to pay attention to some of these. Now, volume is a complicated subject because there's multiple ways to read it, and all the ways really should be read. And and because of that, it's a language. Just like a letter would make a sound, but a letter A and a letter T. T doesn't make the T sound, it makes a T sound, and an A doesn't make the A sound. Generally, it makes a sound. But also that can be omitted depending on other letters, right? So in context, it sounds different. Like boat, it's not boat, it's boat, and a acts like a support for a different other vowels. In that complication of the language is a lot like how volume works. In their own intricacies, they mean something, but also in their relationships to each other at specific levels mean something. And and then there's the calculating for the buyers and the sellers and the ups and downs, and so it becomes a complicated language that we are going to be teaching more of, just as we did in 6.0, but we're going to do it a lot more comprehensively in the new filmings when we enter the volume series of filming, coming probably in January, February, when we start getting to those. Okay. I'm right now still in the showing you guys some of the other stuff, but in a nutshell, let me show you this. Something simple. What is this shape according to other technical analyst teachers? What shape is this? Somebody put it in the chat. Okay. Put it in the chat what shape this is. Nobody? Am I the first technical analysis teacher you've had? Is that it? Ah, like I'm your only teacher. Come on, some of you guys who've been around the block. Triple J, are you saying you've been around the block? Just kidding, Triple J. I can mess with you. Just like me. I'm just kidding. Forgive me, Lord, forgive me. What I'm saying is there's this a very popular pattern in technical analysts, to technical analysts. Somebody tell me. Ian knows it. Is he here? Okay. Nobody else? Gosh. Christian. It's head and shoulders. That's what it is. Head and shoulders. It's a very very popular pattern. Here's the head. Here's the shoulders. Okay, so this is why they call it head and shoulders. Now, why don't I teach head and shoulders? Do you guys know why I don't teach head and shoulders? Everybody says, "Oh, Jay Song, you're not a professional because you don't teach head and shoulders." Why don't I teach head and shoulders? Anybody know? Shampoo? Because I let my hair grow naturally in the wild. That's why I don't use head and shoulders. Yeah, knees and toes. That's why I'm teaching that to my son. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. We're doing that song right now. All this weekend, actually. Why don't I teach it? Lisa. Oh, gosh. Well, the corn is spreading, guys. The corn is spreading. I feel my corns on my toes and on you guys. Correct. That's why. Did you hear what she said? Because we're late to the party by the time it has the pattern. Now, it's nice when you see it, but what happens is it's much easier to catch it in slow motion. When I designed Sword Method, the art of Sword Method, I designed a way to try to find cup and handle as it was happening live. Inadvertently, I also discovered how to find cup and head and shoulders as it's happening. For example, using simple foundational areas, we catch almost most of what we need to learn, because those weaknesses start showing up not just here, but the accelerants start slowing down. So all of these accelerants that were price was starting to go really high start to phase through into weakness. It doesn't mean we're going down on a dime, because price still has this larger overarching curved shape, but it starts giving us the first signs of when those slowing. So you can see how fast we're accelerating, and then we start slowing down. Okay, we start accelerating here at like a 45, and then we start slowing down, and then we start slowing down here, and we slow down even more, and then we are only falling faster. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that happens in slow motion, and most of it is just taken care of just by the foundational area. So the reason I don't teach primarily is because it's built in. You already know a lot of what you need to know about this crypto way before. You can see the signs when it's slowing down, so you catch it. You can catch other things in our classes like event line. So you also know here is weakness. you also know, you kind of know these things. You get it because you have what you need. So we basically dissect the curved shapes in slow motion. So that's why we don't talk about Head and Shoulders, because it's a little bit redundant, but it's nice to see it when you have it. All right. At any rate, it confirms Head and Shoulders and a lot of things. Now, let's put in some health in here, because we definitely need to put some health in here. And then let's try to examine the volume. So here's a health. And, oh, looks like we already did. Back here. There's a health back here. And because of this, we're going to put on our sword cut. And we put on a sword cut. We already got this nice bounce in that area. And that took care of most of what we need to do. We also saw that the straight is not, it is straight, but it also can be drawn as a parabolic. So here's our parabolic and gives us most of what we need to know for a nice juicy short. And then we have target system, and we placed on our target system, and the target system looks like it was already hit in the past in March of 2025. But more than that, it was also showing us that there was, we broke below the target. So now this target is a little bit redundant as well. All right, so because of that target, we can look for a further weakness. So that's where this is. This comes in. So now if this further weakness is here, where are we really going to go? Well, we got this old bottom that is down here, and it looks like during the flash crash on October 6th, we hit that almost exactly, 10016. Now the number is closer to 179, but this is the range where we're looking to hit. So unless I have a sign of health, I'm more likely getting here. Now let's take a look at the volume. Some of the important things I would look for in a volume is as I'm crossing over, sometimes you're going to have a strong push. So you're going to see volume strong right at the crossover point. Other times you'll see one last gulp of air, high volume up bars right underneath this weakness. So right as we come in there, you're going to see some high volume. Let's take a look. So here in this case, we got high volume up bar, but look, there's nothing to it. So this is why we put this arrow right here. This is what we're looking at. You can see that all of that told us almost everything we needed to know back in October. High volume up bar, but the move is down and to the right. It's in the wrong spot. If they really wanted to buy it at this price, why didn't they buy it here when they could have? If it's really buying, why didn't they pay for it here when we're basically at the same price? Okay, look at the volume. I'm going to show it again. Why, if all of this really was buying at the time, and this is like real time, you guys could see this. I mean, not today, but at that moment, you guys could have seen this. This was the price, approximately the same, right? Almost the same. Where is the money? Are they waiting to buy it now after it's in a negative spot? Come on now, something's wrong. When you see that happen, it lets you know most of what you need to know. So why now? Why all the money thrown at it now? That's your cue. That's your up move in a downtrend, and you could probably catch that on maybe a 12-hour, 6-hour, 3-hour chart. Let's see if we could have real quick. This was October 13th. So we know after September 22nd, weakness is in. So if we went all the way down to maybe a 6-hour chart, maybe a 3 or 2-hour chart. I'm gonna hide my lines real quick. After September 17th. So here's after September 22nd, we simply do one thing. We hunt up moves. When we see the up moves, we can take the trades. Maybe that would have been a flat, but here's the clear up move, October 16th. There it triggers. There it is. There's your up move. You can short that, make some money. Here's another smaller up move, very little. And then after that, there's no more real up moves except for this one right there. So that would have been that one. All right. So after this, I'm just going to wait for health to come back in the market. And I don't got anything to do right now except for watch how quickly this accelerates. Now, because we're accelerating much faster than the muted 45-degree angle, or this angle right there, okay, the one up there, and we're starting to accelerate faster, we can use those accelerates to let us know when the first healths come in, and also if we're in a larger short, we know to exit our short. So you can use those accelerates. In this one, we know we can start drawing more accelerating lines once we start making new lows. So there's actually 2 that we'll draw here, and I'll draw them for you, and we'll move on. So there's this one. It's approximately here. I'll give it to you in pink. And then I'll move on, okay, guys, because I'm taking too much time. And then we have this one. So that's one. And then there's this smaller one here. So if I'm in a short, I can keep letting my shorts ride And I heard one famous trader. He said there's two big problems in the world. People stay in too long, and they don't stay in long enough to let their trades ride once they're in profit. They get out too early. So this is a way you can use to let your profits ride. So that means to me that right now I'm still in this bearish territory. The last trigger was here, and I can stay in profit until a health comes in, and then I'll bank what's in between. That's a health, this is a health, and that's a health. And all three prices can be calculated this week for any cryptos that you guys are doing that have this effect, and almost all of them do. We've been doing it for several years, watching how price performs within a map. Remember, this is not get rich quick. This is build wealth slow and learn how to navigate your cryptos that you're trading with. Okay, we're going to be doing a lot more of this intraday smaller stuff using purely the lines, a lot of them in our upcoming Forex class. The free version is on December 12th. All right. This is going to be about almost everything we need for this crypto. And you'll be looking to navigate it like as such. All right. Any other questions going once? I don't always draw arrows for every little crypto. So don't expect me to. I would be looking for this to fall lower. All right, going once, going twice. Let's move on. Oops, no. Oh, my logo. RSR, I'm going to say still in bearish territory from October 2025. A lot of bearish territory was triggered in October, guys. Have you seen that today? It's just huge. It's everywhere. That's our public reports. That's why I made those reports public. I was like, this is important information. So I went on YouTube and I put out now 7 reports, I think, but only a public. I think only 6 of them are public. I am bearish until 0.0016 or it phases into health. Let's go to the next crypto, Node. Almost done for today. Thank you guys for supporting our ministry. Those who have been supporting us with a love gift or your tithe and offering. A link to give will be posted in the image notes and then also in every one of our YouTube videos. You guys keep us on the air. You guys are supporting us. You guys allow me so I don't have to pay my bills with my own crypto earnings or our savings. We do this full time, so you guys support us. So thank you so much. We appreciate on behalf of our family and our ministry. I really do mean that. Okay, well, I got the crypto node. This is a daily chart. What's wrong with this chart? Can somebody tell me what's wrong with this chart? Melody? Melody? Can you come here real quick? What's wrong with this chart, my friends? Can somebody tell me, please? What's wrong with me using this daily chart? Tommy. Really weird spikes. That's a clue number 1. Can you get a little milk in that? Thank you. Really weird spikes. That's part of that. What else is weird about this crypto? Why don't I want to use this daily chart, and why might I might not have many options? What anomalies do you guys observe? What do you observe? Something's wrong about this chart. Okay. Accumulation. Well, we don't know if there's accumulation yet. We haven't looked at the volume. There may be accumulation. Big moves. Big moves are not so anomalous. That's to be expected. Big or down, it could do anything. Bar sizes are all different. It has to do with the bar sizes. It has to do with the bar sizes, and that's what I'm looking at. You see how wonky these candles look? Look how many days we just stayed at, but the dojis are very micro. The candle's starting to look all over the place. There's a lot of ups and downs. It's going to be a lot of choppiness, very, very choppy, and that's going to with the word that technical analyst teachers, different ones will use the word is volatile. Okay, a lot of volatility in these. Okay, and because the wonky shapes and it's not just the shapes, but of the candles themselves. But over time, if you do this for a few years, watching charts, if all you did was just watch charts, you're gonna also see when it acts erratic too. Like this acts a little jerky. You know, this is very weird. It's not just an up and down here or a shape or a round structure or that. You know, it seems very, very wonky. So you got to be careful of that kind of stuff. Sometimes it plays out longer. But that's something I want to now. If I saw this, I'd want to go to a higher time frame. But why can't I go to a higher time frame in this? Why can't I go to a higher time frame? I go from a daily to a 3-day chart. Why can I not generally use a higher time frame? That's right. We don't have enough information. It's not you get less candles. So if it happens, go to where the candles most make sense. The rule of thumb is use the candles that make the most sense. All right. And if that's all you got, that's all you got. You got to be careful. It's not saying you can't use it, but use what you got. All right. Let's go back to that daily chart. HTX has a lot of volume. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the volume on KuCoin first. And we can cross-reference that to see if there's a great disparity or if it's more or less the same. All right, so uptrend, downtrend, this is a downtrend. Let's look at the volume, and we can see very high volume on KuCoin up here. What type of volume was this, and how do we know what type it is and why? What does the volume up here mean? Back in August. Selling. How do we know it's selling? And yes, it is selling. How do we know with more confirmation it's selling? Please. High volume, but not just high volume alone. High volume into weakness. You see what iPad drew, or was that InvestBox? Somebody drew that. This is how we know. Draw your foundational areas. This is what I quiz you guys all the time. If the move is on high volume, up bars, up moves, up trends, on ultra high volume or extremely high volume, it lets us know, or just high volume alone, it lets us know primarily what we're looking for. Just like the buying would be, if it was upside down, we would think to ourselves, oh, there's buying coming in. If the move is into health, we can confirm it. In the same way, we can confirm that selling is in position if the move is into weakness. So this is how we know there was professional selling. So somebody was dumping it, huge, taking big dumps, right? Where's the buying in this? At least in this one, in its context. Where's the buying? The professional buying? Can somebody show me where it is? Anyone? Yeah, that may have been where the buying was at, on that down move right there. Very high volume into the health. Okay, good. Okay. Is there any other places where there's large buying coming in? Okay, it's a trick question. I don't see it. At least on this chart, I don't see it. Okay, and you have to be careful, because if you're going to buy something and the professionals, you're only playing against professionals who have dumped it in the past, how is it going to sustain at those price levels at 11 cents? Right now it's at 3. How's it going to sustain if the money's gone? All right, so that's one way we can look at it. Now, if I pull up the HTX chart and I see a lot of volume, it can mean one of two things. Either I'm only looking at it comparatively to what's happening locally, and it could look and appear as a large volume, okay? But one way we can confirm here is closer to $2 million is the average, okay? Maybe 1 million. The selling back then, when they were really dumping it, was closer to 55 million, okay? So remember those numbers, 55 million down to 1 million. So where's the big money coming in? It's not. Okay, let's put this in our notes real quick. Let's move on. Node, December, and we're going to look at the HTX chart just to compare. December 8th, 2025. Large professional selling in the background. No new buying. This is in a downtrend, being with an up move that may be cut in the near future. So you can use this move to try to see where the next weakness is, and you can even calculate the price and set an alert so that every time price touches it, you can start paying attention to it. It's underneath there. Anybody have any questions before I move on from this chart? Anyone else? Okay, you guys got it? Let's go to node on a HTX chart for cross-reference the volume. Here's node ups, USDT. Current price again should match. There it is. There's our up move. And let's take a look at the volume here. So here we got the same data. Here we have money coming in on this chart. But what is the money coming in on which move? What is it on this chart? What type of move is this currently? Anybody? Accumulation? Is it accumulation? Does accumulation happen on up moves or down moves? Need some answers. Got down moves, says Royal. Down moves. What type of move is this? Right here. Up move or down move? This one. Up move, right? Up move. This was the down move. Here's the volume here. All right. You can say, well, Jae-Sung, the volume was starting to increase in that last area. Let's break it down so that we stay safe out there, right? Because we got to stay safe out there. You guys learn this. You're gonna stack more odds in your favor. You're gonna be more protected. Okay, let's just draw these down moves. Just block them out for parabolic sake. Jae-Sung, didn't you see the high volume here? Okay, just say there's buying that comes in here. Small buying on these bars right there. Here's an up bar. Here's an up bar. Here's an up bar. What's the volume like on those guys? Or at least the pairs. It is possible there's some buying here, but it's also possible what we're dealing with is large selling as well. And this is where I'm going to be a little bit cautious. If at any rate, if all we did was group this in one large chunk, it's an up move. If we fall into weakness, you'd want to view this as professional selling. It is unconfirmed because if it was really buying, it would need to have most of it had been done here. It's not. It's only at this area, which would be part of the shakeout. And the part that scares me a lot about this one is that even though it's up, the moves are right back down. Even though it's up, the moves are right back down, and they're staying down. You can see these. Look at these large wicks here. Large wicks. All of them are experiencing really high wicks and coming back down. So there's a lot of trading pressure. I'll tell you what, if I had dumped it in the past, I would try to wait for the next best up move price to start dumping it again if I still had supply to unload. So I would wait for this move, and that's the move. So it's very possible this is a very calculated spot for this to happen. Now, is there any reasons why it would happen here as well? Well, after we lost the weakness in these areas back there, then one of the next best places is the flat. So here is the best price to start selling it. So if I saw high volume there on the underside of weakness, I'd pay attention. I'd pay attention. Let's see if we can draw it a little bit professionally and then move on. So I'm not going to be so thoroughly convinced of what I'm looking at right now. I would think to myself, this is a little bit dangerous in my eyes. Okay, a little bit dangerous. If I'm going to buy it, I need it to come in health, and then we can talk. If it's buying, praise God, let them take the risk. But until then, this is telling me something's wrong. Something's wrong. Why? They're like saying, oh yeah, that's the best price. Great. Prove it to me then. Prove it. Get into health, and then we can talk. Okay, right? Then we can talk. That will be confirmed buying. But as it is, if another weakness comes in, it's going to be viewed in the passive selling. So this is a word that's being formed. If I say absolutely, you think positive. But then if I say absolutely not, it immediately reverses. Language is like that. I'm going to say it again. If I say a word, one word could seem, oh, it's a very positive connotation. But the next, I can say it and it's a very negative connotation. Same word, different context. We're trying to view the volume before the word is finished. So let the word finish. If I get weakness, then I'm going to say, oh, all that was heavy dumping on the up move. If I go into health, I'll say, great, professional buying. It was a little late to the party, but it was still buying. Maybe they were like, we're going to throw a lot of money at it and try to help it survive. Praise God. Right now, this is decision time. So if all I had to do right now was do something, I would do this. I would sit on my hands. Okay. All right. Any other questions? You can do targeting system for this move to here. And we'll do that right now for you. We're going to take the top to the bottom. I'm going to use this top because it's our next high and bring it down to this bottom. And it's going to give me a swing target, which is first here. That's going to be our swing target if we were to hit it or activate. And then our regular targets are going to be here. And I'd be looking for maybe those ones and the other one down here. This one right there. Okay. So that's probably how I would want to draw those. And I'll let you guys draw them. But as it is right now, it looks like the first of the big targets is going to be, that's a big target right here, right? That's a big one. It's a very big one. So be careful, guys. Be careful with this one. All right, 0.048 to 0.044. Okay, let this, it's like, let it prove it to you, Don't just jump at the first fish that jumps out of the sea. All right. All right, let's move on to Toshi. Let me, I'll put down these final words for this crypto. This crypto is in an up move that strongly shows signs that it may be heavy selling. This is unconfirmed as of today. Price does not have a health. Let's go to Toshi. Okay, put the date on here. December 8th, 2025. Okay. I had an entry here on this price. Very small move before the next weakness is starting to come in. Very small move before the next weakness has started to come in. What happens for crypto in a bearish market? Be careful. Why do you think I stopped posting the large accumulation list? Because I'm getting a lot of people that are getting too antsy, and I can't stand behind saying accumulation prices will hold if the markets are bearish. If I see the markets bearish, most accumulation prices are going to fall and fail. That's my opinion. I think is really going to happen. So that's still where I stand for even cryptos that are being accumulated. With that said, of cryptos that are being accumulated, you want to see large prices entering on the down moves and down bars. Here we saw a large down move here, but the volume was really high. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. I mean, it's like off the chart volume that is here, okay, coming into this crypto. And then we see a push into this health right there. That one, that high volume is a push into health. That's money thrown at it. What I'm looking for next is profit taking. If I see lack of interest on the down moves, they're not interested in the down move. That's going to be here. There's going to be some profit taking that is done in this area, but for the most part, there's a very little profit taking comparatively to the buying that entered. So that means that the big players are still playing. And that means that if you're holding on to cryptos that have long-term accumulation, make sure that the players are not jumping ship, because they can buy, but they can also get out. A lot of cryptos exchanges that are overextended on their holdings, they need to liquidate to pay off their debt, or they need to liquidate to get out of a bad position because they're going to get margin called on other positions. So what they'll do is they'll sell off cryptos the same way you guys do. If you're like too margined, you have to either add more money to it. So you have to pull money from your bank or your savings or whatever you're going to do. That's what happens. In the crypto world, it's the same even with large players with millions of dollars in holdings. So look for cryptos that sometimes will jump ship. This one has not jumped ship. The players are still in. Only small profit taking seems to have been done in the past. See, look at the up moves, up bars into those weaknesses. That's it. So are the big players still playing? Yes, the big players are still playing. Is there still a health? Yeah, there still is health. And the health is at these prices here that we've given you guys before in the past. Does that mean immediately going up? Absolutely not. Most of these cryptos still need to go up with the market. And in a bearish market, they're going to have a very hard time. Some of them will even go into a weakness if those areas are broken. This one is a much concerned crypto because I got a top up here and I have two bottoms already in place. So you can see that I have this bottom here, but I also hit the bottom approximately on the date of November 12th or November 21st. So this is going to be something that I'm like, ooh, we're bouncing here, and I got some safety nets going on. Is it going to hold in a bearish market? Personally, in a bearish market, I don't think. I think a lot of stuff is going to go down, and it's almost like you guys got to jump ship too when it's time. So be careful when it's time for that. Now, if this crypto can hold, or if the markets become bullish, then we're going to see signs of that, and this would probably be one of the best places to buy. But again, we need health, right? So I need a health. I want to be a health. Now, currently I have a bit of a flat here, and then we can update these new lines. So we're going to stretch these out, and that would bring a next health somewhere up here. So this might be something we want to take. But in a bearish market, be careful even of bullish cryptos, because they're going to be like the fish swimming against a stream a bit. not in the sense that we try to hunt that, but in the sense that it's going the wrong way. All right, so this is the next big health. I'll give it to you guys. It just moves up the track. It was this one before. Now it's going to be that one. So somewhere right here is a vortex, 00029. That's where it is. This vortex now continues to come out to the more medium part, 0065. And if we do have a bullish market, this is going to be something I'm definitely interested in, because then we can start hitting a very high number and maybe even hit some, hundreds of percentages. Here's 2,000%. It's just huge. It's just astronomical, but it's well within its trading range for here. All right. That's about all I have for this crypto right now. Does anybody have any other comments, thoughts you would like to share or say regarding this crypto? Something I still got to wait for in a bullish, for the next bullish market. 2025.00029 is a nice support, but remember the markets may reveal soon a sign of strong weakness that will affect much of the crypto world and make it difficult for even accumulated cryptos to rise. I am not bullish the markets yet. Tommy. Yeah. Let's see. It's very possible price will make a decision by around December 15th. So December 15th, if we're going to come into a health, that's if the markets are going to be bullish, this will go into a weakness, this red area here. And that's all the way down to 572 is what I would expect. So I would expect like some volatility here, and then this one right here in this dashed block will stretch out, and that's going to give us till about next year sometime. So if that occurs, I'm going to be looking at closer to Christmas. Okay, that has not occurred. We still may actually get a bounce even this week, and then we'll talk about it. But that's 6.30. But the main one that really tells me the markets are bearish is 6.22. Until then, it's a bit of a delay. So this is delay currently where we're at, and this is delay to weakness. That means that there'll be some bullish pumps in the market short term. Okay, just very short term stuff. But currently this move is still in play. Okay, so it's going to let us know when we have to stop shorting. Right now we're still kind of in that shorting mentality, but if we continue to bounce up, that's going to be, you need to get out of markets. You need to be very careful of the markets, because after we hit 7, we're going to hit 786 with a very high degree of confidence, and then we're going to be in that 9s, and Christian's dream of 9 will be affected. Other people have seen those higher numbers and the lower crypto prices. That's where that's going to strike. So I think you got time. I think you got to, we're going to know about it, but keep watching it. Draw it on your own chart, this bar, and then draw, even if all you did was just draw a flat around 6.22 or 6.4, you got what you need to know. Price gets above there, jump ship. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Okay. Otherwise, we may phase through here today and play a bit. And this is probably this week or next week. Okay, this week or next week. All right. No problem. Okay. Any other questions? This crypto, Toshi, support 2.9. Okay. Probably some good prices. They were willing to pay a very cheap price. They're already in very strong profit. They don't mind as long as they don't go negative, and they don't mind playing the long game. Remember, they didn't take profit here. Small profit was taken, but not enough to offset all that millions and millions and millions of dollars that they bought worth of this, or however much money they bought worth of Toshi. and there's some large players who are playing, they're still in the game, so they're expecting a very high price. Okay, let's move on. All right. Next support is 0.0029. Current price 0.00037. Should be another 0 in the 29. Okay, let's move to the last two. I got the stock ELB. ELB, what's an ELB? A-L-A-B. Okay, Astra, it's called for, short for Astera Labs on the NASDAQ. Looks like I've done this chart before. Okay, looks like this crypto is sitting on an old flat. I'm trying to round there. Remember, with the stocks, you got to be a little bit more generous in your analysis for your lines. So don't be so super critical of your lines. And this one looks to be nice and juicy and climbing up on its old flat and possibly coming into a health here. This candle's unconfirmed a little bit on this 3-day chart. Let's go to a 1-day chart and see if we can still see those lines. Yep, we can see them, and we can see price starting to get a nice close above there. I would like to see high volume as we cross over, so I don't mind high volume into this as we cross over on December 5th, or even possibly here on December 1st. And there it is. So here's our December 1st and 2nd. We got high volume. It's on a down bar, but the move is immediately into health. So that might be buying into the down move, trying to buy it right back in. And that's just a single day. So I'm going to view this as the whole range. In this opinion, especially with the candles being so wonky, like we talked about earlier. Look at the candles. They don't make sense. So be a little bit more generous and in your volume analysis and in your structure. So if the candle moved this far in a single day, this is probably pushing volume. All right, so I'm going to be looking at as a little bit of a bearish, as a bullish sign, especially as we cross into here. Now, if we do go up, how far are we talking about going? Well, the event line should have already been hit. That's the event line right there, so we hit it. That's right, this is the event line, and that's where we would duplicate it out. So that's we already hit our target there. So you can draw another health if you wanted to watch it in real time move. It would be something like here for Alba. So if I get above that price, that's my next health. We'll just bring that out to today, 172. Get me above 172, we can start going up. Right now we're not there triggering that, but we're leaning towards that. So we're going to fade that away. And next, let's talk about the uptrend. So this uptrend is still holding. Let's see if we can duplicate that on the bottom side. And yeah, so it looks like we got a double. There's our verification. We talked about that earlier in the video, that kind of thing. So I'll place it here, but I want one verification. If so, it stresses the oscillation. And if the oscillations are broken, it stresses the DPs on the top or the bottom, depending on where we hit, what side we're hitting. So in this case, we're going to put some emphasis on the upper number for right now. So that number is going to go towards the sky, $293. Current price, $168. So if we break back up, I would like to go to 301. With that said, let's go to volume. I want to see that this down move was either on lack of interest or more buying coming in, which is an increase in volume. One of those two. Let's see. Clear. Stock market isn't always clear. Let's go to a 3-day chart to see if we can smooth that out. All right, high volume down bars, but the down bars are back up to the right. These first ones were on lack of interest. Another down bar, high volume or higher volume, and then another one here, very high volume bars here. So this would indicate a buying campaign or buying or new money coming in, most likely. That's confirmed. That's going to be conditional on the fact that we can get into this next health. So provided I can stay up there right here, I'm going to be viewing this as some buying coming in. So it's very possible new money is entering this crypto specifically because of these down moves on high volume, but the move is in health. All right, so that's how we're going to view that. That'd be a strong move for this stock. I would like it. All right, let's put this in our text to report our findings. December 8th, 2025. ALAB. This stock appears to have new accumulation from buyers on the last recent down move. This up move has only one candle. So a close above 172 would help confirm the buying. If so, I would be bullish this stock up towards 301 area. Current price is 167. That's almost a double. Okay, so you'd be looking to get almost 100% if you bought it at 172, 67%. And from today's price, I wouldn't pay, I don't want to say that's almost a double because it's 160, right? Okay, I'll just leave it current price 167. So if we paid 172 or a little higher net up to 301, we're looking at 69%. So it's about 70% gain. That's possibly on the board for this one. So I would feel pretty good about this one. Yeah, and that's provided conditionally I can get that close right above there. All right. I think that's all I really want to say for this one. Yep. ALB stock, possible bullish entry. Any other questions? 72 towards 301. Current price is 167. Okay. Last stock, crypto stock for the day. What is this going to be? Hold on, let me see if I can see it. WM. Okay, so I'm going to look at this stock called WM. Hold on, guys. Put this a little higher so you can see it. Okay, Melody, here's a good place so you can take a screenshot. And waste management. All right, looks like we did this not so long ago. Let's see where we're at. Looks like weakness is in play right now. Down move, more recent, hunting the up move is this one that we're drawing. So it looks like weakness is in play. This should have been a help, but we couldn't stay above. So that's going to be a bearish. This is going to continue along the track. 202. The real health triggers after once we're in health right there. So that would be a move that would trigger us up to here. This one is no longer valid at the moment. We're not building above there. Okay. All right, this price for this weakness that we drew last time is 216 right now. Current price today is 213. Let's look at the volume. High volume on the down move into a small health may have indicated some buying, but the up move on high volume right at this area, if we cannot stay, may indicate possible selling. This was the next best price to sell at. So we really would want to have stayed above here. This candle has not closed. We got 4 hours left in this 3-day chart. Let's go to a daily chart. So we really shouldn't have came and phased here. That means that there's too much supply flooding this area. I don't know if we're done with the top yet, but it's the next best place for this to come down. So I would be looking for it to possibly come a bit lower at the moment. All right, let's see if I can calculate a few other things. I think I got one thing for you. Yep, weakness. Okay. I think this one is slowing down. We need to look at it more short term right now at 203, and then above when we're above here. So I don't have much more commentary than all of that. I think it's appropriate we come down to a lower number, and we can start talking about this. We already had our up move, so I don't think I need to do more right now. Let me take a look at RSI on the monthly. All right, RSI price base here. We're triggering our RSI price base on the monthly chart. If we can't hold short term, and if we don't get all the way down here short term, this is still going to be in play. Even if we do get down here short term, even if we do get down here short term, there's still bullishness in this. But right now, it's not in play. So we got to wait a little bit longer. Monthly charts can have 2 or 3 or 4 months just of candles, and we can actually play in here until May of 2026. That's the vortex, based on all of these wicks up here matching this down move. So I'm gonna say to myself, give this some time. Short term, probably we're gonna hit 203, maybe a little higher, and then we'll come back and bounce around a bit, and then again wait for your health to trigger. Right now it's 224. That's the next down move that's got to be cut. That will be this one. All right, any other questions, comments, my thoughts, this market here? Okay, bullish move, short-term bearish, I think. That's where I'm going to be right now. Bullish monthly chart, bearish short term, possibly down towards 203 due to weakness appearing. Okay, I'll copy and paste that into my chart for next time. All right, any other questions for me? I won't look at any new cryptos, but we'll be back on Wednesday, December 10th. Yesterday, Melody and I got a chance to build a Christmas, what did we do? Build a gingerbread house. You guys want to see it? The gingerbread house we made? It was nice. It was real fun. We got to... I had a problem yesterday, so we had the problem we had, so this is what we made. The problem with the gingerbread house that we made is that we were on a timer, and we found this new way of making making a gingerbread house. What we did was we melted the sugar, and when we melted the sugar, it became like a resin, so we were able to use that to hold the walls and stuff. And then we did it first with the wrong kind of sugar, so it was like all falling apart still. But after that, it held within like 15 seconds. It was like really cool. So we did it right. But we were on a timer because we were fighting against my son eating all of the sprinkles and eating all the candy, because we had a little bowl off to the side of all with the candy we're going to use, and he kept grabbing the candy. Now, luckily, most of the candy that we're using, he didn't eat those ones. But like the sprinkles are organic, and or whatever organic means, and for sprinkles, no artificial stuff, no artificial dyes. And but he was just eating it faster than we can place the stuff on the house. Well, we got organic sprinkles, we got organic two kinds of sprinkles, and organic gummy bears and organic lollipops. And but he just kept opening them and crunch, and then we were like, oh my gosh, my son spent. I said, Melody, how long did we take to build a gingerbread house? She goes, from 9:30 to 10:30. I said, then my son for the last hour has been munching on candy for like an hour. Oh my gosh. So we were like, we let him eat candy for too long. So he seems fine this morning. I can hear him out there. But that was our gingerbread house. And we had fun. This is our first time doing a gingerbread house. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait. My son was like, So we had a great time. It was fantastic. It was fun. I did I watched the ghost one. I may have clicked on the wrong one. House. I watched the ghost one. Okay, I think I got distracted, or I got busy, and I don't know if I watched the second one. What was the title of the video? And I'll tell you if I watched it. Or what was the subject matter? What category? Oh, okay, then I didn't see it. Okay, I didn't see it. Okay, I'll get a chance to watch it. Uh oh, wow, wow. All right, congratulations. Somebody messaged me in the chat, a private message. Congratulations. That's good to hear. All right, with that, I better end this recording. I'll be right back. Melody, can you go and shorten up the end of the video? You don't need to show our gingerbread house. Thank you for watching our reports, and today enjoying your breakfast with me. This is kind of a breakfast with me. And enjoying the charts. We'll change our name to Charts and Cereal. I'm just kidding. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord look upon you with favor, be abounding to you with grace, be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance towards you and give you peace. Father, I pray for our community that you would just give them a lot of peace during these times and seasons, especially during their great hardships and famines and during all the negative times. Let them learn how to prosper in the bottom of the well. Let them prosper in the house of Potiphar, and let them prosper in the prisons. Let them prosper in the times of the famine, and whether the Lord gives us good or the Lord gives us evil, we will keep and continue to praise your name. We love you. We thank you for all that you have done and all that you allow us to go through. Train us up for what is coming, and we'll be grateful for whatever you bring. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.